Welcome to Moor's Heritage and History School, presenting Sisters Standing on Law. This is your host, Anita L., along with my co-host, Rosmariah Bay.
Islam, peace and love to all.
Islam. Welcome to all our callers. Thank you so much for joining us this Sunday, 23rd of August at 1 p.m. for Sisters Standing on Law. We want to get our show started right away, so we are going to go right into our subject matter. Today's subject matter is entitled Sisters Dumbing Themselves Down. Why? Why are sisters dumbing themselves down so that others can feel comfortable? Do you think you can take your place amongst the affairs of men if you dumb yourself down? Or maybe you don't think you, sisters, are the one that is supposed to take your place. Why are you holding yourself back? Be who you are. All are welcome in this uplifting, fallen humanity. All are family. Don't think that supposed lack of so-called education and social status or sexual preference or any choices you've made in life excludes you. It does not. So don't hold back and don't dumb down to make anyone comfortable. Remember, Noble Ali came to teach you to be yourself.
It's not, you know what? Just in case there's some listeners, when you said, how can you take your place amongst the affairs of man, you know, they might be like, she's saying we're supposed to be doing what men do, because just for some who may not get that man as a species means woman. You know, we're talking about the species, and then we're talking about man in its generic term, if you will, meaning of man, of humanity. So, and this is, we're assisting to, of course, uplift fallen humanity. So I want to make that clear, because so many people get things mixed up, including some sisters and some of the sons, like, this is a woman against man thing. That's not what we're saying. That we're talking about the affairs of man, linking yourself back to the family of nations and uplifting fallen humanity when we say that. So I want to make that clear in case there's someone who may be listening for the first time, the second time, or maybe however many times, but never got that straight. So we want to make sure. Yeah.
Yeah. We got to be clear. You know, I hate to say it, but we have to be clear. You know, when we look at where we are now, everybody's getting caught up in stuff. And I just think it's very ridiculous. If I had a certain person who is more suited to do something, that's who I'm going to call on to do it. And I say that here's a good example. I know a little bit about plumbing, but I'm not a plumber. So if I have a plumbing problem, I'm going to call the person who is better suited to do the job. I just don't understand why. We know it's not even up for debate, really. Women can multitask. They can do more than one thing at the same time. You look at the cover of the 101, it's all there. You've got to know that fallen humanity is her, because we all come out of her womb. Yes. All right, so if she has fallen, whatever's coming out of her womb has fallen, and she is the only one that can fix this. That's not just in writing, speaking. This is written in the prophecy. She's the only one that can fix this. So she is the one that has to wake up. Because last I checked, I ain't seen no guys, no sons, giving birth to babies. I have never seen that, ever. And so she's the womb. She's the one that's got to wake up. Part of that waking up is women. There's so many super smart women out there that are, they can do things, but they're acquiescing or dumbing themselves down so that somebody else can feel comfortable. That's not going to help in uplifting this fallen humanity. Not going to help.
No.
So we've got to wake up to the fact that, look, sisters, if y'all are smart, you better be smart. And if somebody's not comfortable with it, well, maybe you ain't supposed to be with that somebody, or maybe you ain't supposed to be around that somebody. Maybe you need to make some changes because, see, you got stuff to do, and this is not going to turn around until she, mother, wakes up. So you can't continue to dumb yourself down because it doesn't serve the purpose of uplifting fallen humanity. And all you sisters out there that has proclaimed your nationality and you continuing to dumb yourself down, you need to just turn in your turban and your button. And all you sons out there who's content to keep the sisters dumbed down and you feel comfortable with her dumbing herself down and you ain't poking her to get up and get to moving, you need to turn in your feathers and your pins to go right back to where you was found because this is not for that.
Hey, and may I make some interjections and edifications and make some things clear for those who may not be clear, because what's being said is right and exact to the point, but we, with the knowledge that we have been in a mental slavery and we also have been dumbed down by education, or what is not really education but what we think is, there's some things that, we have not received yet. Now, when you said, the ones who is suited, and it brought to my mind that, in this when we are manifested in the flesh, we either have the what we'll call the suit without the breast in the womb, or the suit with the breast in the womb, right? All right. So as we deal with man, again, man is mind. We know that, and manifested in the flesh. Man, the woman is man in terms of the species. All species being identified by the feminine, the female. So therefore, sisters, we're man, and he's son of man. It's not a complication. It's just that simple. So now, when we're talking about coming to truth about your birth rights, you give birth. So if you don't know anything about it, that's why it's in the condition that it's in, and that's just a cold fact. Because if this is about your birthright and your nationality, which comes from mother, she has to be a part of it. She is it. She is it. That's why it's in the condition that it's in, because she is not aware of that. She has not been aware of that, and she has not been effectuating it if she has become aware. As you said, for those sisters who proclaim, we, in fact, there was a class yesterday. It was a great class in Philly at Sentinel-based class, and it was mentioned about, do you know your status? And it was really interesting because sisters said, well, I know I'm a Moor, but then they didn't really equate status to that. So proclaiming that you're a Moor is a lot more to claiming that you're a Moor. You know what I mean? It's who you are in terms of lineage. Now we've got to get to the studies to link ourselves back to the family of nations. And again, women are the ones who give birth to those who go into society. So if you're not a part of this, if you're not aware of this, then that is the reason why it is in the state that it is in. Because you sisters, now, listen to what I'm saying. There are some that may say, once they get this understanding, including sons, they then may say, well, she broke it, she caused it to fall, So therefore, we're going to, do something else, or it's her fault, or all that kind of stuff. It doesn't really matter about that because, as you mentioned, we have to fix it. If I fall down right here, I got to get up where I fell down, not somewhere else. So sisters have to get up. This is why I covered the 101. She is unconscious, and the prophet even said the great meeting is on when she wakes up, and also to have a greater respect for womanhood. There's a reason for that, and upon your studies, you'll get it, because the patriarchal mindset that has come into the matriarchal, which is nature, matriarch is nature, is set on suppressing her, because once she wakes up, the great wrath of Allah is abound. Once she wakes up, everything can be put in place. But until she, you, all of us sisters who give birth do wake up, it's going to be in this terrible state. And the children are going to be in a terrible state of mind, because when you have it in you, this only makes sense. When you have it in you, when you have a child that's in you that's being birthed, born, and building the temple, Solomon's temple in your body, in your womb, in the silence of darkness, your womb, well, what you know, the child knows. So if you're dumbed down, so is the child. And then it becomes a real struggle where what you place into society, being the children, where they are concerned. And the last thing you mentioned is when we talk about the sons that are not saying, wake up, sis, come on, wake up, because there's a lot of them that are out there that are in fact doing that. And you would then read chapter 2 of the Circle 7 Holy Quran, because that would be what we refer to as a chapter 2 son, who is trying to wake up the sisters, and who has the light and is trying to pass it on. And so we have to give kudos to those who are actually doing it. But
yes,
the reason they're doing it is because there's a necessity to do it. Let's get real. There is a necessity to do it, because she is the one who's asleep, and she is the one that needs to wake up, and she needs to recognize that birthright comes from her, period.
Islam.
Yeah. With that in mind, we continue with our work, and because look, sisters, you already know. Now what are they doing? Not that they haven't been shooting your sons down in the street. We love our sons. We all know this. And we know their place, and they know their place as well, or they ought now. But if you know their place, then they automatically do, because you're the first teacher of them, the very first teacher, right in the womb. So now they're shooting the sons down and the women, and you have great despair about that, So it is time, or beyond time, to wake up and take your place amongst these affairs. You have to, because you're the one again. We're going to keep saying it. This is about birthrights. You give birth. How can you sit back and act like you don't have anything to do with this? You have all to do with it. All to do with it. Thanks a lot. Sis, are you there? Your brother dropped out. Okay. All right. So now, the other thing that we want to be clear when we make this call out to sisters, and this is not like this call out today. We've been doing it. That's what Sister Standing on Law is. It's about making a specific call to the sisters who are the law, who manifest the law in the flesh. Every time you have a child, you lay down the law, really. So we're calling on all sisters. It doesn't matter, and I have to bring this as a sensitive situation, but it really is not a sensitive situation, because all of those sisters who may have a life choice of being gay or lesbian or whatever, the proper political terminology is, as an example, that there's no judgment of any kind regarding that. You're still a woman, whether you have a child or not. You're still a woman, and that personal sexual intimate choice is not even an issue here when it comes to human rights or liberties, let's say. So, like, as an example, now the diversion of the so-called gay rights situation, it's just taking a bunch of women and diverting them. And I spoke with a couple of them, and, you know, they're like, well, now at least we can get married. And see, that's like a big X, you know, a big, like, no. If you understood about human liberties and rights, you wouldn't even want to be getting married through that system of the state that now has granted you to get married. Like really, sisters, all of you gay and lesbian sisters that are dealing with that, you're being very selfish as it comes to human liberties and rights. It's selfish, and it's blinded, because this is about human rights regardless to your sexual preference. You know, this is part of the fall and the degradation period of what some of these modern Europeans who were in caves, you know, who were in caves having sex with animals. I'm not saying you doing that. I'm just saying the sexual preference thing should be left out of human rights and liberties. It really should, because it's a big diversion so that you're not dealing with human liberties at all. You're dealing with something that makes you feel special because you are special. And, you know, and to me, it's kind of selfish when it comes to, now you could be saying, well, the rest of the world has been selfish and they haven't recognized it. Truthfully, who cares if you have sex with that? It shouldn't even be something that should be on the board. And because if you knew that when you get married, through the state being a party to that whole process, you just sold yourself as an orphan to the state anyway. Because read on the Return of the Matriarch page, there's an article there about marriage license. That license thing is not for you. You don't need anybody to give you permission. So when we keep thinking that we need a state, this whole thing about national principles and your freedoms and your liberties is about not having these quasi-national domiciles, right, tell you what to do and act like your parent, because they're not government. We've established they're not government. So this thing about, oh, yeah, now we can now get married, that's very narrow-minded. It truly is. You know? Islam.
You know, that's absolutely correct. You know, and there's also, I think it's not a prophecy. I think the prophet wrote that, I can't remember the exact wording, but he said something, and Raj, you probably know it, but he said something about you're supposed to get married by your grand sheik. But if you don't want to do that, then go and buy, something about go and buy your wives from something or another.
No, a minister. It could be a minister. There's not, well, I mean, the grand sheik.
Right. It doesn't have to be, right.
Yeah, make that clear. That doesn't mean, go ahead, I just want to be clear that, you know, a minister, so, and that is something that's afforded also in the Constitution.
Right, but then he also says something about if you don't go before the minister, then go buy your wives from the European, something like that.
That's in the oral statements of prophets, but that was a sarcasm because they wouldn't listen to what he was saying, and people take that literally. That he said go buy. He said what he meant. Go buy. He said go buy your wife. He said that. Go buy your wife. B-U-Y, because that's what you're doing, and that's why we're saying that actually when you get married, whether you realize it or not, through the state license process, you actually have a contract, and when you get divorced, you don't really end the contract, you alter it.
Right.
And you pay.
So when he said go buy your wife, that's literally what you just engaged in, whether you're aware of it or not, commercial transaction, and it's equivalent to your wife being on the auction block. Yeah, that's absolutely degrading, yet because of the dumbing down, many of us believe that that's such a it's the Many of us think it's a privilege. Many of us think it's a special thing. Many people think it's a holy thing, but there's nothing holy about that transaction. And they think because they're going in front of a member of the 501c3 corporation, that makes it a godly thing, and it's not. Now, I will say this: people who are contemplating getting married, I would suggest you do this. Go and research the entire process that these modern Europeans have put out as the marriage process. And if you think it is in any way, shape, or form a godly and or holy event, you go through the Bible, go through the Quran, go through any of the ancient texts, find what is going on today exactly as it is being portrayed. Find it in any of those ancient texts which are right and proper. Then maybe you can participate in it. But I can tell you already, you're never going to find it, because a pastor wanted to have a conversation with me because I am not, I don't sanction the marriage process. He wanted to have a conversation with me. So I told him I will be 100% behind the marriage process as it is if you can show me where it is in the Bible, since y'all follow the Bible. And I ain't heard from him yet.
Right. Using his own
just a little
thing that
something
he knows
to think about. Just a little something to think about. For all those Moors who want to be part of the whole Egyptology, go find it in their ancient text. You're not going to find it because I already looked. All those so-called Moors out there who think they're Hebrews, go look in the Bible when it was written in Hebrew, because it was written in Hebrew before it was written in English. Go look through that. You ain't going to find it there either. So part of the dumbing down that women especially participate in, because whether you sons want to admit it or not, the women run the house. Whether they're in their minds or out of their minds, whether they're conscious or totally asleep in a coma, they run the house.
That's true. And we only say that just to get you to thinking, not to have a debate and say, let's have a survey. How many run the house, how many don't? Because, hands down, we would show you without even being in your house how none of that applies, because you are the multitasker. We can prove that every day, all day. And we only say that to get you to recognize it. You know what I mean? It's like you see somebody, you see something, you know it is what it is, but another person just is not open up to it yet. And all of that is because of the dumbing down that has been given to suppress women. There's no doubt about it. And so we live generations and taught our daughters generations of the same thing. And to come to find out that this whole thing is about keeping her suppressed. Isn't that something for you? Ain't that something for you?
Yeah.
So now you got to go back to the reversal, to order to get you back to zero again and see on a different perspective what just happened or what is happening. So this is why we make these. It's not to make a comparison, on like a survey sheet. It's very real. And this is also why women have to have their own meetings, because a lot of the things that would be brought up would be offensive to, or appear to be offensive to the male, because he didn't know it either, And so it appears to be offensive, and then they take this thing about, this is male chauvinist stuff or women lib stuff, and it's none of that. Just like it's not about, the gay thing, same thing. It's none of that. So Because all of us are gradients of the woman, you know what I mean? That's all that we are, because that's where we come from. So this is why it's so touchy to get into the conversation. And then if you got a mate that hasn't reached that yet, because it's a process. If you got a male in your home, a son, right? Whether he's a son, a brother, a father, what a husband, which is house binder anyway, because that's what it is. It's hard for them. They have to go through the same, maybe a little different because they think differently, but they have to go through the same process of accepting this reality as you go through. It may be easier for you because when it's brought to your attention, you say, wow, that's right. And then any reasoning that you might have becomes an excuse but not a real reason because it has no reasoning factors in it. It's just based, you'll see that it's not reasonable why you have had it that way. It's just that it's been taught, misdirection for the reason of keeping you down. So, and then let me just say this. And once you do go through it and recognize it, it's not about beating the sons up, beating them on their head about it. It's about you realizing that this is your responsibility anyway, even when you wake up and see, oh, shoot, this is how it is, and this is, that's been not cool. Even when you do, you got to take the responsibility because it is yours.
Islam. Now, I just want to clarify something here. Now, sons, when we say that she is the one, she's the one that's going to turn this around, that doesn't mean that you're supposed to put your common sense on the back burner if she is abusive, because, if you look back in our history, a lot of things got kicked off because she became abusive. So we're not saying to submit to any kind of abusive behavior. That's not what we're saying. And by the same token, sisters, we're not saying that you need to be, super overpowering to if you're in a situation with a son, because now you realize that you have been dumbing yourself down. We have to take things in a very loving, prophets that I come to teach you to love instead of hate. So everything that we do as we make correction to ourselves has to be done from the place of love, not hate. So I think if we just keep that in mind, we'll be fine. But we have to make realizations, and we got to be real, we got to be real open with our realizations, and we can't be, sticking our head in the mud anymore, because that's why, we ain't been covering our behinds, because we've been busy sticking our head in the mud. We can't do that anymore.
Description.
Couldn't do that anymore. We got to wake up, and we got to, prophet said, wake up, you sleepy-headed Moors, and that's exactly what we got to do. Mothers, y'all got to wake up, because we need for all mothers to wake up so that we can be back in harmony. Sons, we need y'all to wake up as well. Everybody has to know where their position, all right? And if we can just admit that, hey, I've been playing the wrong position, and get in the right position, a lot of things will just automatically be corrected. I want everybody to hear this. Our problem, it's not the modern European. Our problem is us. On an individual basis, it's us. We don't know how to get out of our own way. And we have been mentally conditioned, and many of us, even though we have proclaimed our nationality, we're still functioning under those mental conditioning. And so, just because you signed the proclamation, name correction, got your national identification card, might have sent out a writ or two, it still doesn't mean that mental conditioning is not going to come upon you at some point in time. It's going to. And some of us are still operating under it, because if you're subjugating the mother, the woman in your home, or if the mother is subjugating the son, we're out of order. It don't matter that you did the proclamation, name correction, identification, sent out a few writs. Your whole energy is not one of uplifting fallen humanity. So, I mean, I can't even think what that right there is total confusion within self, because if you're doing these things that appear to people who are looking at you as though you're operating correctly, but behind closed doors you're doing something that's absolutely contrary, then you're confused. You're a divided mind, and a divided mind can't be good for the nation, can't be good for the individual, much less the nation.
Right.
So our actions have to be noble in private as well as in public.
Right. And that's where astrology comes from. On if you even read chapter 25, Holy Instructions for the Children. It's just a simple brief though on what to teach the child based on their astrological sign. And that's where it starts at. And one of them says, charity, that's for the cancer. It starts at home. You know what I'm saying? But everybody knows they say that. But if you read that, it's right there, all of those attributes that you would concentrate on, because if you teach that, the first schoolroom is the womb. So that's first and foremost. And whoever you are and whatever you are, that's imparted in that first schoolroom, period. And then the raising up of whatever the energy is that you brought in, So those are what these instructions are for. And that starts at home, and we're just like floundering like fish, and, okay, what is the newest news? What did they say about, the Department of Health and the Department of Children's Psychology and the Department of this, when you already have that, that in fact the teaching of the effects of astrologics, that is the psychology for us. It is, and that is the counseling as well. So instead of us sticking with the science, we go along with what modern Europeans are doing, and they're modern Europeans. They just got up on all fours, not too long ago. So, we dumb down is the word. Is that, I hope it's not offensive, but that's what has happened. And then that leads into everything that you do, because you can only be who you are. And you can only be what you know, period. I don't care how great you think you are, how many degrees you think you have. You can only be what you know. And there's a lot of stuff that we as Moabite sisters have not known, have been purposely hidden from us. Just going into the history, the heritage, really, and looking at facts that are proven to be that was not imparted, instead to keep you in that hate mode instead of love mode. And we know it's true. We're running around talking about, look what the so-called white man has done to us in slavery and stuff like that, and we are a hypocrisy because it's hypocritical, because wait a minute, they were born into slavery at our hands. So like, if you didn't know that, you look like an idiot. And that's what we've been looking like. And this is the type of education. This is the type of, not education, this is the part of the dumbed-down system. So we're running around thinking that everything that we can have or not have is based on something that had to do with slavery on a boat, a few hundred years ago, but yet we say we are the mothers and fathers of civilization. Now, that statement right there is also hypocrisy. So we have to take a really good look at ourselves and stop looking at other people. We already provided for the other citizens, if you will, that here on this earth plane with. We already made provisions for them. We really did, because this is our ancestral estate. But yet we've given up our ancestral estate and act like we for them to make provisions for us. Another hypocrisy.
Islam. You know, I love the prophecies, oral statements and prophecies. They are so on point. And I was just browsing through one, and I found one so appropriate that I feel that I need to read it. It's actually a portion of Prophecy 208. If you do not have the oral statements and prophecies, you need to get a copy of it and keep it on you at all times. Mine is all highlighted up, magic marked it up. You know, some of the ink is bleeding through because it done fell in the water a couple of times. And I don't care, because I take it wherever I go in my purse with me all the time, because you never know when you're going to need a shot of inspiration. And that's what the oral statements and prophecies are for.
Sounds like you need another one. If it drops in the water, you need a fresh one. Well, no, but seriously, because when you read a book, even though that's really not a book, it's just statements, but even when you do read a book, the first time you read it, based on where you're at and your perspectives and your knowledge base, the second or third time, or even the second time that you read it later, it's going to mean something different anyway. But you always like those original highlights, because at that time that you read whatever that was, that's what appealed to your soul. Because I had that experience. I had a book, The Secret Teachings of Jesus is where it came from, Yeshua, but it was called The Secret Teachings of Jesus, and it had 5 books in it. And Book of John is one, of which, sisters, you must read. It's on the Return of the Matriarch page. It puts things in perspective as far as we are concerned. That's why we have it there. But anyway, the Book of Thomas was also in it. And when I first got it, I highlighted the stuff that resonated to my soul. Well, unfortunately, I let someone borrow the book, and that's when I learned that mistake, because they tried to replace it and gave me another book, and because at the time it was hard to get the reprint on that, I got another used book that someone else's highlights were in. But even if I got a brand new one, the highlights that I put in that attended to my soul at the time from first reading, but if I could go back and see why that hit me and where I am with it now, is lost forever, you know? But it's always good to go back and read a book a second time. And like the Clocks of Destiny, they wanted to, that is one perfect example. First, read that, because he's telling you about the experiments. He's telling you about a lot of things, really. And your position, the Zodiac Constitution sounds like something farce, some craziness, you know, like, what do you mean, the Zodiac Constitution? But you go back and read it, and when you gain real understanding and understanding of it, you know, will be after you traversed and learned some things. Now you go back and read it, and it's like, wow. And so the Clock of Destiny 1 and 2 is one of those such books that will do that to most people, because your soul yearns the information. And that's why you want to get the book. That's why you want to read it. Your soul yearns it so that it can begin healing your soul, healing it with right knowledge. And that's why when you first read it, it's always important what hits you. Always put that highlight on it, that note, and then go back and see your own development. Islam.
All right, let me read this. This is part of a portion of prophecy statement number 208. It reads, I have done more than you think. I want you to help me by your good deeds of living at home and abroad. It is through your lips, trying to be the front seat and everything, always standing in my face. Moors, be careful of your steps. Leaders of temples must be careful how they walk. They must be an example. I am not asleep. I will take you, Moors. It will take you Moors a long time to find out what I did today. When you all go home, don't start no stuff, for I will be right there listening at you. And, and see, now he's telling you, look, you better check yourself. Don't think just because I'm not there that I don't hear and I don't see. And so you got to really look at some of these Moors and run around here talking about they the prophet reincarnated. Well, if he ain't never left and he right here listening and seeing everything, then what are you talking about?
Another hypocrisy. But really, it's because the principles are divine principles that don't change anyway. And, so that's why it's divine. So he's really talking about the divine and the spiritual, whether you're in the physical or not, you see, because we know that with spirit man manifested in the flesh, we got that. So, that's a whole different plane and dimension, but it's still right here with you when you do your meditations, your what you call prayer, whatever it is that you do when you sleep, whether you know it or not, you're visiting that place. So, yeah. So, but because we're on this temporal place, which is this earth, that we are made to lie down in these green pastures, which is this earth, and because there's other beings here who are absolutely temporary, you know what I mean? They can either sustain the sun, sustain in the sun cycle here, and because we listen to their analysis and we go by what they say, we've abandoned our own, and this is why we have this conflict that's going on in ourselves until we get this knowledge, And that's another thing. When you read in some of the ancient scriptures, it says, he shall return to the caves and all this stuff like that, right? And we know that it came from the caves, right? I was reading something or somewhere, and I realized that they're making all these bunkers underground. Not that we didn't have bunkers, and they're finding stuff. Our buildings go underground in a lot of cases because we just did. If you do any historical landmarks and stuff like that, you'll find that the buildings, what's on the ground level, is really the window sill of the building anyway. But I'm talking about this thing where they are now building all these bunkers. You know what I mean? Underground. That's returning to the cave. It's just that it's a more modern and luxurious cave, and it's hide from the sun right now. So really, so we gotta really stop listening to their psychologies of things, because it's not just like the thing with foods. Certain foods that we ought not be eating. They're not right for our bodies.
Yes.
You're calling on sisters to wake up, because this is about birthrights, and you give birth. So, it doesn't take a rocket scientist to realize that you have to be involved. So don't be waiting for somebody to do something. Well, if it works for you, let me know, and then I'll do it. No. Be active and not passive in your own affairs.
Islam. So the message for today and going forward is, sisters, y'all are more than capable to take your place, but you got to stop dumbing yourself down. And don't let nobody, whether you're mother or son, don't let anybody tell you that because of any choices that you have made or you are not a Moor. That is not the case. We are a family. Everybody is welcome, because no one has the authority or the power to determine if you are family or not. No one. So just remember that.
Oh, no, what you're saying is what the prophet said, no one can change your descent nature. See, no one can change your descent nature. That's how he put that, And people having, look, man, the people of the government, governmental, that's you. If you're active, you don't need to have no meeting about it. Well, that's why we have this, because she's the one who is from humanity. And again, she's the one who gives birth. It's about birthright. So that's why it's so important for the sisters to wake up, because ain't nothing really going on. Listen. Everybody says, let's put this out like it is. Everybody says, well, how come, the prophet brought this information that he actually professed and studied thoroughly, and it's been 100 years, and nothing seems to be different because women have not woken up. That's it. That's all. It's just that simple. Once she does, it's over. That's really why. And we're not putting no light on any others who have been attempting to do things and creating associations and clubs and all that. But that's really the truth why. Sisters, mothers, daughters.
And we also have to be clear. All of us have to take responsibility, whether we're mothers or sons. Because I know when I was growing up, it was a silent message that was put out. And I'm sure it was mostly environmental and, what you saw going on. But it was put out that the women have to acquiesce to the son. It was never told, but the message was put out. Just like I'm sure to a lot of sons, it was put out that you're the head of the household.
Yes.
When in truth, you're really not.
The house binder.
You're a
house
part
binder.
of the household, but you're not the head of the household.
That's hard.
Because it is hard, but we have to, all of us, mothers and sons, we got to just put on our big boys and big girl drawers and just call a spade a spade. Look, because all of this dancing around the truth is why we haven't woken up. We've been, trying to figure out the best way to tell mothers and what the best way to tell sons. Look, we're just going to have to come out and tell you because it is that time of the day. And really what needs to happen is don't get upset when you hear it. Just go back and think about it. Turn it over in your mind. Think about it. Because if I can reflect back and see that I participated in this Christian crusade thinking and make corrections, then everybody else can. And that's really what we have to do. That's really where we are. Because I'm going to tell you right now, and listen closely, as long as you rebel against the truth, these modern Europeans can come and manipulate you.
Oh, absolutely.
We have got to embrace the truth, whether we don't like it or not, whether it's a bitter pill to swallow, or either you're content to allow the modern Europeans to manipulate you, or you are ready to do whatever it takes to get them off your back. And if you're ready to do whatever it takes, then part of that is recognizing that you might have been standing in a place and doing things, but it is not your place. And I'll say this. There's a lot of sons out there, and it's interesting because I watch a lot of sons, they're just going and trying to wake up sons. But sons ain't having babies. If you really want to be effective, if you wake up one mother, you have woken up a nation.
Yes. Yes. Yep.
He ain't got no nation in his womb because he ain't even got a womb. That might be why so many sons is having prostate problems, because they just don't want to get in the right place. Because the prostate is nothing but a dead womb that can't produce.
Yes, it's a rudimentary womb, but it's not functioning, just like they got two nipples on there.
Exactly.
That's indicating, where they came from, really. So, and that's just the way that it is. Again, we want to say we're not putting anything down. We're putting things in order so that we can all be honest, us and our sons. about this thing. Because as long as there's that other mindset, we're never going to get through this because, again, and those who say, well, she's the cause of the fall, great. Okay, well, then if she broke it, she got to fix it. You want to help? Fine. Other than that, you can't fix what she broke because she broke it. If that's what you want to, if that's how you want to see it. But if you think that because, she had the opportunity and now we're going to do it, you're wrong. We need to have a gong. You're wrong because that's not going to happen. And you say it so well. You say, look, whether she's out of her mind or not out of her mind, because they'll say, oh, she's crazy, oh, she's this. It doesn't matter what condition her mind is in. She's still who she is and has the ability to do things, that you can't fathom when she's ready because of her power. So this is why she needs to be in the right mind because she's the mother of humanity. She has to. And the first teacher. So that's not going to change just because you may have identified that the one you're dealing with seems to be crazy or out of their mind. Truth is, we're all out of our minds because this traumatic thing that has happened to us, it causes with a mind to kick in and work on ego because of the trauma, not love. So everyone is. How about that? And it doesn't change the fact she still does what she does and going to do what she's going to do. And then so much so that they even put out that time that they said that this guy, a man, had a baby. This is how stupid and gullible most of society is, and we would like for Moors not to be that gullible. That person actually was a woman that had one of those operations, right? But they wanted to put that out there. If they, and the truth is they're the ones who were grafted in the daggone laboratory, and it says to. You see what I'm saying? But we must interject here. What you need to watch to understand the unnaturalness of it and the animal of this thing is the movie called I, Frankenstein that just came out. Everybody knows about the Frankenstein story. It's like they call it a myth, but it's a real deal thing, just as the Island of Dr. Moreau. The whole bit, they're giving you information. But Eddie, did you get to watch it yet? I Frankenstein?
Yeah, I did.
Noteworthy. When you watch it, brothers and sisters, have a pen and a paper, and because it's noteworthy, and listen to the setup, everything, and it's all right there. And when the mother said, wow, now man knows that. I got my notes somewhere. Basically, they were saying that man can be created not by nature. They say it.
Oh, yes, so I remember that.
And that goes to the book of Thomas that I was telling you about where it says, oh, my gosh, humanity is born and the child of humanity? Oh, my God, what have you done? What have you wrought? So, and then also, when they called him Frankenstein, but he was actually named by their mother, she said, you know what? Dr. Frankenstein made you, but he never named you. Remember that part? She said, so I'm going to name you, guess what? Adam. And there's so many other noteworthy things in it, isn't it? I think. I mean, I know.
You know what? There's another portion in that movie where, see, and it's like prophetic because that it's really talking about today. They came, and this is happening right now. You had these people who were coming to attack, and all of the sons and the warriors, because the warriors weren't just sons. There were some sister warriors in there. So it just goes to show you that it ain't just the sons that are under that mental conditioning, but it's prophetic because in this movie it says it shows you where they came to war with them, and all of them came out en masse to fight. And the reason that they put this whole plan together was so that Mother would be left unguarded. Yeah. Do you remember that portion? Mother would be, and they said it. They said, we did this because we knew that you guys would leave your most valuable prize unguarded. And we would be able to come in and snatch her up. And that's exactly what they did.
You know what? I didn't write that down. I didn't really catch it, but as you're saying it, I got it. Yes, that is another part. Mhm.
Yep, and that is prophetic because that is what is happening today. We have all these sons. They are going to battle, and yet in the prophecies and the statements, it lets you know that, hey, it's undisputed fact. Moors are the masters at fighting, but this time, it's not about physical strength. It's about your mental strength. That's why you have to study. That's why the prophet said, study, study, study. He didn't say, go and get your sword and study battle, the battle strategies, of fighting. He didn't say fight, fight, fight. He said study, 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 because this particular next phase that we're moving into, it ain't about fighting because we would win that hands down. It's about going back to the mindset of your mothers and fathers and using your brain, tapping into that portion of your brain that we have not even scratched. And that's why they say, oh, y'all only use 10%. Yeah, because we're totally ignoring the other 90%. This is why the prophet said, study, study, study.
Right.
Because and so we got all these sons, they running out there to fight. This ain't the fight time. And they getting caught up, and they're leaving their most prized possession vulnerable.
Oh, wow. You just brought something to my mind. I don't know if this is off track. No, it isn't. It's not off track to what you just said. I don't know where I shared this at. Somewhere. Well, I think we were in a Wednesday's class, and we were talking about how they had the Million Man March, and they had all the guys lined up.
Yes.
They were all lined up, soldiered up, protecting the brothers. But then when they had the Million Woman March, wait a minute, hold on 1 second. I'm sorry, this thing is rebooting. When they had the Million Woman March, and I was there, and there's other women who were there, they did not have that type of protection for the sisters. Mhm. What is it doing? They didn't have that for the sisters at all. So that kind of goes in right along in line with what you're just saying as well. So in other words, what we're saying is we're not pointing any fingers at anybody. We're trying to wake up the sisters to let them see what's really, really real about. But yet they say that you're the jewel. You're the jewel. Well, oh, really? Okay. All right.
And they also said this in the Da Vinci Code.
Yes.
It said, I'm looking for the Holy Grail. Oh, don't tell me you believe that foolishness about the Grail being a cup. He said the Holy Grail is you. It's her.
It's the womb.
And the cup is her womb.
Oh, man, powerful, right? So again, we're saying this today, yesterday, and will be tomorrow, to wake up who wherein anything alluding to birthright, if she's not involved, it ain't gonna go down. She will be suppressing herself by not being involved because she gives birth.
Right. Right. And this is not about your education. It's not about your status. It's not about your sexual preference. It is 100,000% about your birthright.
Well, when you said status, you meant your fiend status that they give you, because it is about status. Status means
when I say status, I mean like corporate status. What your job is, what your position is.
Yeah. Right.
Corporate status. Let me rephrase that. It's about your birthright. That's all it's about. It's all it's ever been about. And that's why these modern Europeans go out of their way to make sure that the people are asleep or dumbed down. And if you're any of those things, you're never going to get that this is about birthright. And that's why you have people running around here talking about, that's prejudice, or this is a civil rights violation. No, it's not prejudice. It's birthright theft. It's not civil rights. It's a violation of human rights. So we got to stop falling for these things that they put out here, because you know what? They have us falling for a lot of stuff, And this is exactly why the prophet said, study, 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 because if we were studying, we couldn't be falling for this stuff. Really, we couldn't.
Right.
So with that,
right.
I'm going. Did you want to say something else?
No, I was just saying right. No, I was agreeing.
All right. That we're going to open up the line. If you have a question or a comment that you would like to make, press 1 on your cell phone dial, and we will take your call. All right, caller 803-334. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim. Islam. Caller 803-334. All righty. Caller 412-298. You're live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest Maxim. All righty. Caller 412. Are you there?
Yes, Islam.
Islam.
It's Energy calling from Northwest of Maxim near Pittsburgh Corporation.
It's lounge. It's the Energy.
I just appreciate it. Able to get on the line. I've been missing sister since y'all been broadcasting. I can only get into the archives. I just appreciate it. I don't know if y'all recall, but I'm definitely clear, and I'm appreciative being a mother. You know, I just appreciate the fact that I'm women.
Energy, we were talking. What territory are you from again? Corporate territory. You know, near is it Pittsburgh or it's where?
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Day, you're the sister we were looking for because we were in Pittsburgh for just a day, and I said, "I know." Yes. Yes, it's the Energy. Listen, and you have a phone number. I'm gonna give you a call because you and I have talked.
This one's mine. You're gonna answer a queue where you had seen 412-969. That one's mine. I'm actually using my associate's number as well. I have both phones going, so when I'm walking around, got one up here, got one downstairs. I wasn't gonna miss the call today.
So wait a minute. We can call you from on this number here that you're calling in on.
No, not at all. But 412.
No, don't give us the whole number, sis. But give us the area. The area code is 412.
Yes, it is.
And the first three numbers after the area code.
I'll call right back in.
Are you on the line?
She's on both. She's on both right now. She has both of those lines open. Do you see the 412?
And I'm calling it back. This number come on. I'm coming back in on my line.
Oh, all right.
Well, it might not be open on your line, so you got to stay where you are.
When I heard you say
call in,
I am.
Call in. Yeah, call in and then press 1 and I'll see you.
She's already in. She's at the bottom. She's already in.
No,
she's just not.
I see her. I see her.
All right.
I see her.
That's the number. That's the number.
All right.
Yeah.
Hey, I miss you, sisters.
Okay, now you're echoing, so you got to shut the
No, I got it. I'm good. You're good. You can keep on talking.
All right, go ahead. Did you lose
shoot! Okay, hold on. She just got disconnected.
I see her. She's still on.
No, I gotta unmute her. Okay. All
okay.
Right.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
There you go. Got you.
Yes,
got you.
I meet you all. Oh my goodness, that would have. I just got a chance to meet Saw Rock. I don't know if y'all familiar with this young lady, but oh my goodness,
he said no.
Who? Saw Rock.
Who?
A young lady by the artistic name of Saw Rock.
No, we have
never heard of her.
Please do yourself a service. It's SAROC. Oh my goodness, she's the only. Well, I'm not gonna say she's the only hip hop artist that I allow in the home, but she is my top 5, and they're all of conscious building. She knows she's a Moor. Her music is huge. Cujo's familiar with her. Okay. So Cujo knows, her well and everything. I know he was supposed to have been trying to collaborate with her, but that woman there is so powerful. Oh, my goodness. You sisters would definitely appreciate your daughter. I'm trying to tell you.
All right.
I don't do concerts. I don't do the crowds. I don't do that loud noises, man. There was nothing going to keep me from it. And not to mention, energy is so well. She got spots in her songs where she had said, I'd rather you reach me to use telepathy than text me. So that's what I have been doing for about 8-10 months. Well, even probably a little longer than that, ever since I heard that line. And lo and behold, not only did she was brought to Pittsburgh under one hood, she came and they did a free concert. So that means I ain't got to do those dead instruments, no notes. You feel me? And then the son is out of the home, and he is contracting out there at the airport, and therefore he couldn't be there. How about he met her first? So she got a chance to see all my babies. My baby was she was the first one. They greeted her when she got out the vehicle. She was on stage dancing. She said her name. Oh, my goodness, that young lady, y'all. So, and then you all turned around and was in this, I'm feeling some kind of way. I am feeling some kind of way. Because you sisters need to be in the class. Because like you're saying, it's us. We need to, oh, my goodness. There's a brother out there called Tommy Sotomayor. Now, I'm not upset with the man. I don't know if you're familiar with him. But he's still in the mindset of African-American, black, what have you. But he has this YouTube site where he does TNN News, where basically the people send him all kinds of videos of black, as they classify as black women, doing ratchet things, and he calls them Beastie 1000s. And one of his statements is, the worst stewards of children on the planet today are the black women. Now, as it stands, yes. Now, hear me out. The worst stewards of children on the planet today is the black woman. Now, if we are not, in our proper, person from the door, therefore, whatever child we're, forming inside of us, they're not going to have knowledge of who they are, so they're going to come out here with this European mindset. So that's a bad situation for a child. And it's our job to not be black, but be more. And if we're out here, not only are we calling ourselves black, we're out here, beating the side of our head because we can't scratch it because we got yaki in. It's just an abundance of stuff. Long story short, I don't have a problem with that man because everything he is saying, I have said. I do have a problem when I see our sisters come about in numbers of 2, 3, 4 at a time, and they heads is weaved up, they loud talking, the colorful this and da-da-da-da, because there's always going to be a problem soon after that. And it all comes to we have no knowledge of self. We're buying into this media that is just, oh, my God, selling you garbage. But if you don't have it, you ain't nothing. But I'm like, wait a minute, what's your nationality? If you don't have that, you ain't nothing. And that's why you're being treated the way you're being treated. But that is sad. There's two people out there, Sal Rock, Tommy Sotomayor. But I was hoping that something was going to be said about the young man that was just, or the young Moor that was just gunned down in St. Louis. Because I was on the Sons of a Lost call, and I came in late, so I didn't actually hear everything because I don't do the news, so I wouldn't know.
They covered it.
They did, they did. That's what I'm saying. They covered it. However, I didn't hear the coverage of it. I came in when the callers was being, brought about. I was hearing it, and I'm like, that was for me. And that's when Ananita, if I'm not mistaken, it was either you or Roz that came in, and y'all both hit my point. Y'all hit my point. Yes, this, this is them calling us out. They pulling the card. Okay, we've been killing these corporate beings, the wards of the state. But now we're going to, cross that line in the sand.
And that's where the Treaty of Peace and Friendship is, and the rules of the law of the land are supposed to apply.
Exactly. So that's where we need to see, or they basically trying to see how strong is the nation now after 102 years? Where are we at? Because they know we're still divided amongst ourselves. Those who are in the temple don't deal with, Moors like yourselves, because you're actually doing the civic side of what the prophet. And this is the most important part. He didn't the science, the Moor Science Temple. He did that so we can have a corporate entity, i.e., a system of exactly. So he did that for that purpose, but we got to know the law, one, because that's who we are, and two, we got to uphold it because there's people coming in
hand in hand.
He said when he established all of his work, he said we established as a civic organization. So that because the religious door opens both ways, there's religious freedoms and also the institution is the Moorish Holy Temple of Science, Moorish Science Temple of America. Because remember, institutions do not create causes. The cause creates the institution. So he laid out everything we needed. Because remember, he said, claim your nationality and your religion. And let's give you an example. Let's give an example of why he said religion. Because as an example of something happening now, because I get emails from people saying that their jobs or whatever is making them get health insurance. Now, we already know that that doesn't apply to you if you're Islamic or Muslim. It does not apply to you. And so now we know that Obama, which is the president of that corporation, all right, has affirmed it. It's not because he said it, but he affirmed it on, I believe it's page 127. And where he said
107.
107. 107?
Page 107.
107, okay. I sent somebody 127, but 107. And where he said that, listen, if you're Islamic or Muslim, none of this health stuff applies to you. And you will not be what's that word, sanctioned or fined because you don't have it. So now check that out. So now we get sisters calling about this health thing, and I got to do it, and they want, no, you don't, if you claim your nationality and your religion. You see what I'm saying? So everything that we need to do and be and are is already, that's another thing. People say it's 102 years, basing it off of Prophet Noble Ali's absolute work. But we were Moors before that, so it's really been more than that. However, there's a pinnacle and a paradigm that's happening right now, and either you're going to come through it or you're not. Back to your point about the brother that got shot, so they're calling it out. So if we're saying we're Moors and we're saying that, we established the Constitution for other citizens so that we are not molested, and if we're saying that Article 6 points to all agreements entered into prior to this Constitution, which would be the treaty, then we need to be activating the treaty. Now, Hillary Clinton came in and she acknowledged it. She acknowledged the treaty at that time, and she acknowledged the nation that first acknowledged them, the United States of America. She said that first nation. She didn't say the first city. She didn't say the first state. She didn't say the first corporation. She said the first nation. So we are a nation, but we already knew that because Prophet Noble Ali said that too. You are a nation. So it's there. But back to these classes and this one today where women are concerned, you are the nation. You have to stand up to be that. Right back to the point. Born with the nation in your womb.
Yes.
And as long as we don't get that, then it's done. But listen, sister, energy, all divine law governs all events. I'm going to make another visit out to Pittsburgh. I want to call you because we loved it. It was just for a day. I can't get into everything that we experience right now, but I was calling you out. Remember, Anaida, I asked you, did you have a number? I noticed, but what happened is there's another sister. Her name is Elitra, and Jayana and Elitra are both out in the Ohio territory where we ended up going after we left Pittsburgh. And so I got confused with Elitra and energy for a moment, and I was thinking, no, Elitra is in Pittsburgh. No, but Elitra is in Ohio with Sister Jayana, and they're both two sisters that are, doing things, and they assisted us greatly. So, but we'll make another trip, and I'm gonna call on you, and we're gonna hopefully. I trust that it'll be cool that we can meet when we get there. All right.
But of course, you always got a place.
Well, I mean, I'm talking about meeting and you showing us some things, and we doing some things. And some other things, maybe we'll set up something because, I don't want to talk about it here, but I went to a specific place where Moor had a business, and they were talking about some things with someone about a class or something. But I'll talk to you later about it.
Definitely. Like, again, I'm ready to yield the floor. Like I said, I was just happy that I was able to get on the Sister Standing on the Law. This is my first time being able to without having to just go through the archive. And, this is my first time hearing the sisters on, on the law, actually being on and everything. I usually have to go to the archive because it's Sunday. Usually I do my Sunday school at 1 o'clock.
Gotcha.
So when I heard the Cujo's, let it be known that it was this Sunday for a sister that had called in on that show, I was like, I made a mental note. That's where I'm going to be at. So I pulled class back, an hour and a half early. And we went through it, and I was here.
We've been calling on you. We've been calling on you in the efforts. We just didn't concentrate hard enough because here you are. I'm telling you that. What'd you say the sister said? I'd rather talk telepathically because that's how we like to communicate anyway. So guess what? It's all divine. I'm going to get back to you for sure.
Indeed. Islam,
all
sisters, thank you.
All right, Islam. All right. Caller 513-550. You are live on the air. Please state your affiliation and Northwest Maxim.
Peace. This is Sister Diana Berry calling from Northwest Maxim.
I
know, right? Actually, I wanted to make a comment on the topic of the show, which was women dumbing themselves down. And this is a reference from the Holy Quran, Circle 7, chapter 22. Chapter 22, and it's the duty of a husband. I just thought that was amazing that Anna E. and you guys chose that topic because I was just breaking this chapter down. And number six is that she is the mistress of thy house. Treat her, therefore, with respect, that thy servant may obey her. Okay, so the key word in this is that the word mistress, and I looked the word mistress up because I knew that the prophet wouldn't just use mistress for no reason. So I'm like, what? Why would he use mistress? And the definition of the word mistress is a woman in position of authority or control. Yep. And when you really go back to the origin of the word, it was pronounced like mystery. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it or not, but it's a master. Yes. So mistress is the master, right? So I'm just going to read some of the definitions of mistress. A woman who has power, a woman of authority, ownership, the female head of the household. So the prophet put in the divine writings that, and this is under the duty of thy husband, and it's number 6, just for everybody to go and read. It says, she is the mistress of thy house. Treat her, therefore, with respect, that thy servants may obey her. Let you know she got servants, too. But I'm just saying, so if mistress, the origin of that word is master, then we really, really are dumbing ourselves down because we're supposed to be some masters. The Bible says we're the master of the household. Not only the masters, but the mistress means head of the household. So it's not just Anna E. or Roz saying this. This is what the prophet put in the duty of thy husband. Number 6. So I thought that was powerful.
And also, Mr. That's right. Mr. is master. Master is mother. It all comes right back. And be true, mistress, but be truthful, Mr. is master. So Mr. is mother. You see, it really comes back to that. Now, some people are going to say to you, well, in the next chapter, it says that women should obey their husbands. Yeah, well, when we women birth But what you just read described to is the head of it. That doesn't change now. But when we birth sons and we raise them to be diligent about their duties to women, his duty in protecting and being really a husband is a house binder, so it's really domestic. His duties, if he's right, then we would obey him to that extent of what his duties are. So it's not like they'll try to come back with that, but you just broke it down as to who is the true authority. I want to add something else in today's society, and as you read Mistress, I'm glad you did that because it dawned on me now, you got some men out here that are so-called or married, you see, because they didn't say, they said mistress, but yet the mistress is the bomb diggity stig, as you just said, and here's the reverse. The reverse is that if you have a mistress, she's some side slut or whatever like that. But look at how the power of what it means comes. Because if you've got a man out there and he has he's married, corporately married, which we ought not be. But let's say he is, and then he has a woman on the side. They call her the mistress, don't they?
Yep.
All right.
And then why?
That's the wrong terminology. That's the wrong terminology. And not only that, they call her the mistress, but when you do have a man in that position, let's face it, he's being controlled by the mistress because he don't want nobody to know.
That's right. That's right. That's why it's kind of the wrong terminology, but it's not. Because if you think about it, she's definitely controlling. Or else he wouldn't be right there, right?
That's right.
He wouldn't be outside of his household. So she's still a mistress no matter what. But of course they they try to put it in a bad way. But go ahead.
Oh, sorry, but check it out. There's going to be some guys out there that's going to say, well, she ain't controlling me because I'm out there because I want to be.
Right. And then also, go ahead.
No, I said, we could put it to the test, but I want to say this before you say what you're saying, Jayana.
Right.
That's some awesome research. I just called you out and said how you was out there in the beautiful territory, Ohio, originally, doing the thing. And now you call with this right here, which is beautiful. Thank you.
I sent as soon as Annie began the show with it, I sent her a text like, wow, because I was already on that, so that was just crazy. It was something you had said something about I don't know. It's in my mind. All right, peace. That's all. I'm supposed to come up with it. But that's all. I just thought that just really correlated with the show, and I just wanted to share it with everybody, males and females, husbands and wives, that's what's going on, and that's the duty of the husband in chapter 22. So that's real.
I love it. It's beautiful. It's perfect. And send love to your son for me, please.
Oh, I will. Peace.
All right. Peace and love.
All right,
our next caller. Oh, geez, where am I? Oh, there I am. Caller 513-296. I think this might be her sidekick. Peace and love.
Peace and love. Can you all hear me?
Yes, we can. Is this?
Hey, this is Sister E. In North Mexico, near Ohio.
Anitra.
Islam, yes. Hey, Islam. This is out of control, right?
Yeah.
I'm listening. We just call it back to back. It's in the air. That telepathy is real. I was listening to Sister Energy, and she was speaking about, just a few things, and especially the telepathy. So I just wanted to say she's there on that because as Sister Jay and I was talking, especially when we initially came together, I was telling her how I really wanted to meet Sister Roz and Sister Anna E, Brother Mez, and Brother Cujo, and it was like I got to meet the three, and that was just so awesome. So I really believe that it's in the air, so I feel that, and I thought that was awesome that she brought that up. But I did want to comment about what Sister J was talking about just a moment ago in terms of the word mistress and how we use it and just how it correlates to the show. And there is a movie, I cannot remember the name of the movie, but it's a movie with Eddie Murphy, and I just know that he's like he's out of jail, and he's helping this guy, I think, try to solve this case or whatnot. Now, I hope I'm not getting it confused, but at any rate, I just remember him asking.
I know,
this
48
lady,
hours.
No, I apologize. Actually, it wasn't that movie. It was Chris Tucker. So it wasn't Eddie. It was Chris Tucker.
Oh.
And he was acting like he was this guy, this like Italian guy's son. And I forget Vic Damone. He was Vic Damone.
Yes. Money. Was it Money Talk?
I think so. I don't remember the name of the movie. I remember. Because they had the diamonds and it. Okay.
Yeah.
So he's at the table with the like this Italian guy and his wife is clearly like not Italian from the way she looks. She looks to be like a European daughter. And Chris says to her, "How's the mistress of the house?" And she denounced the title right away. She was offended, like, I've never been anyone's mistress, you know. And I just think that may have been subliminal to, for one, to show her ignorance as well as ours, because a lot of people probably felt like, I know that's right, girl, you ain't nobody's mistress, definition of the word. Yeah. And then the reality of it is that she does not have any power at the end of the day. Like, she may have power over her nation, which she does, clearly, but she is second to the true mother because she's a daughter. She can never be, the first. We are the first, the Moabite mother. So I just thought that was funny when Jay was bringing that up about the terms mistress, because that was the first thing that kind of popped into my mind as I thought about that.
Mhm. Wow, that's interesting. Yeah. I remember that scene exactly, but and she is a European daughter, so she's absolutely correct. She could never be a mistress.
That's right.
She's absolutely correct. You see the little things they put right in our faces, and we don't even touch it.
Absolutely.
Right, exactly. So, wow, that's powerful right there. And I have to say, well, we already know the control that what people think is a mistress from a so-called married man, and he has a mistress. And here's the trick, right? They'll meet him and they're like, "Oh, well, I don't care that you're married. I just want to spend some time with you, and it's all right." Until she decides that she wants more, then he'll find out what a mistress really is.
That's right.
That's right. But I want to say this too, Alitra. You can understand energy that was just on in Alitra. Now, I got to teach you, so I'll never confuse you again at all. But you can see y'all have a similar, quote-unquote, no pun on the Appalachian energy.
Appalachian, yeah.
And y'all keep it sound alike a little bit, Yeah, they do.
Wow,
yeah,
wow,
you do.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And it's so funny you was talking about, when you was talking to her, when she said what corporation she was near, I'm like, that's who she was talking about.
I was right, because I had talked to you, and I said, Alitra, aren't you out of Pittsburgh? Talk about Pittsburgh. Like, no, not me. It was energy, and there it is. But
there it is. Whoop, there it is. And if I can make one more comment, because she had, Sister Energy did bring up about, because she said she wanted to hear more about, like, if we were going to talk about the Moor. I just wanted to say that Brother Cujo, because I wanted to give this shout out to, he is an exemplary Moor. He wrote a beautiful writ and a notice regarding Mansour Bey, and basically he picked up his pen, letting them know that the pen was mightier than a sword. So when we're talking about civics being taught, civics is civilization. Thus, the root civics. So we have to teach civics. And when I looked at that, I was just like, that is just such a beautifully written document, one that go down in history, because it was beautiful. What he wrote on that, Brother Cujo. It's 3 pages.
Well, he hasn't shared it with us yet, but I'm sure he will. Did he post it?
Yeah, he posted it.
Okay.
It's beautiful. It's beautiful. So, we I would say, more follow his lead, at the end of the day. Pick up that pen. We can, if they're calling us out, then we have to be put to the test, and this is what it is. So we have to let them know what we know, but we must be in our proper persons and, of course, use the right jurisdiction.
Yes.
It's Yeah, yeah. And then one last thing. Also, she mentioned the brother Tommy Sotomayor. I've heard him before. I would just say that he's a bit of a misogynist to me. You know, it's just in terms of how he comes across, because he's kind of, I look at him as like a basher of the people. I get that you want to highlight some things, but at the same time, he still is not coming from a benevolent place. And so, you know, at the end of the day, it's like he's very unconscious, and he's one that, to me, he's almost like, you know, nails scratching on a chalkboard for me. So I personally can't. His energy for me is just too negative. But I hear what he's saying. I'm not saying that he's not speaking some truth, but it's just coming from the wrong perspective. And with that, I'll yield.
Right.
All right.
You got to correct those perspectives and concepts. You're right.
Yeah. So peace and love, and I want to, and eventually I would love to meet Sister Anna E, because I was hoping that you would, you know, come as well, because I didn't expect Sister Ross or Brother Mans to come. I just thought it was going to be Brother Cujo, and I was just happy to meet everybody. Brother David, also the other sister, I forget her appellation, that you brought along as well. Shanice.
Yes, Shanice.
Yeah, Shanice. This beautiful. I love you guys, and keep doing what you're doing in Islam.
Islam,
all right, Islam. All right, caller.
Wow, that was powerful about mistress. We don't.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That is.
Yeah.
Which just says that even though you read in the Quran, you still need to have your dictionary right next to you to look up some words that you thought you knew what they meant.
Thank you.
That's right.
Islam, got caller. Is this Sister Carol? Right.
Greetings, Sister Anna L.
Islam.
Islam. I tell you, the energy that I'm getting from the show and the previous sisters, I just want to say honor to you all. And I did catch on the YouTube the class from Cincinnati, and believe me, I was there in spirit. I felt like it was just happening as I was watching it. But what's so funny is that I missed the first hour, and I'm sitting here because Sister Anna L., you've been talking about the prophecies, the oral statements, so I pulled my book out when I was reading, just reading and reading and reading. And so when I did turn on, because I caught the Sons of Allah last night, in fact, I fell asleep on them, and I finished it up this morning, and they said, well, the Sister Standing Alone is going to be on the thing. I said, okay. But anyway, when I missed the first hour, but I did come in on the mystery, which was interesting, and then the previous sister speaking on the energies from Cincinnati, but I am going to catch that hour that I missed. But I was just going through some of the prophecies, like 2:13, where the prophet says, I have come and taken away all the excuses. So we have no more excuses, okay? And then I went down here to 2:15, where he says, if I tell you that I am going to do a thing, it has already been done. You know? And then 2:16, I have fixed everything. I have stopped up every rat hole. You know, it's just that I just had to read it, and I'm like, wow. And like you said, everything is coming to fruition here. And we are gonna have to make changes and do and step up and do what we need to do, especially as mothers. I was building with a family member today, and she's a single mother, and I'm so happy that she's taken an interest and she's looking into this now. And I just wanted to share that. And I want to thank you, and I do appreciate everything, and I love you all, and I will do my part. I know what I have to do, and I will do it.
You're doing it. But, you know, before you take the next call, when we're talking about a lot of his prophecies and statements and that he said would come to fruition, is coming to fruition or has come to fruition, and so shall it continue to do so. I just want to interject the conversation we had the other day, Anna, about those oath takers. I mean, oath. What do they call oath? Keepers. Oath keepers. These are a bunch of European oath keepers. They were in Arizona and they're in Ferguson, and they're walking around peaceably with their right to bear arms. And some of our unconscious. in plain view because they're enforcing that, you know. And some of our unconscious Moors or possibly conscious Moors, we're saying things to them like, wow, I wish we could do that type thing. And they're looking at them and saying, well, who said that you couldn't, right? And so some of them may be getting instructions or being taught the Constitution, because the prophet said, I'm going to have the Europeans stick around long enough to teach you law, right? He also said the Europeans are helping, why aren't you? So some of them are. So there is another prophecy right in front of our face happening. You know what I mean? So,
prophecy fulfilled.
Yeah.
All right.
But let's move on.
And, you know, there's another prophecy that he had. That he, I stepped my prophecy book away. I don't know why I did that. But, you know, I'm glad I folded the pages down, though. There's a prophecy. Where is it? Oh, here's one. Because I read this, and I probably was as confused as people are today. It says, it's prophecy number 108. It said, Muslims are not made. They are born. All right? Muslims are not made. They are born. A lot of us think that somebody can make you a Moor. Nobody can make you a Moor. You were born a Moor. Now, he said, this is happening. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. I am going to lead some of you Moors all the way up to salvation, and you are going to turn around and go the other way. Prophecy fulfilled.
Yes.
You know what I love? Susanna L. I love 109 where he said that I can throw out a spirit that would make the Moors want to fight, and then throw out another spirit that would bring them back to peace. I love that one too.
Yeah.
Now, there's a prophecy that is at this moment being fulfilled. Many of us don't get it. So I'm going to read it. He said, one day, some of you Moors are going to be walking around with skippers falling out of you. That's maggots. Praying to die and won't be able to die. That prophecy is being fulfilled right now. You want to know where you can find those Moors? In these institutions they call hospitals.
Hello.
The other place you can find them is in the convalescent homes. They're begging to die, and they're not able to.
They want to keep them from body parts.
Because the prophet said that if you don't wake up, basically the worst is yet to come. Well, the worst is here.
Yes.
He also said that if we don't wake up, the blood is going to run all the way up to our knees. That's here too, prophecy fulfilled.
Yes, it is.
And here's the thing. The one that needs to wake up is mother. Because if you attack mother's babies, she's going to get angry. She's going to start to figure out a way to protect her babies. She might wake up. By the same token, you got to know that her babies include her mate. Because he is her son. So if you come after her mate, which is her son, and her baby, she's going to figure out a way to wake up. And that's why he said that the people are going to be forced to make a change, and here it is, prophecy fulfilled. Mother, because y'all choosing to be dumbed down, you're being forced to make a change. And it don't feel good. It doesn't feel good, but I'm going to tell you how you can overcome it. Wake up. That's it, and that's all.
And that's it, that's all. I got to make another comment to what you said earlier about I can take you to water but I can't make you drink, but I'm going to take you all the way up to the water, and some of you are going to turn around and go back the other way. Now, going back to the book of John, which, again, I have an excerpt from that on the Sister Standing on Law, it says in there that there's three types of people during these times, at all times, really. And that's the one that has always known the truth, kept the truth, spread the word, and kept the laws. Then there's that one, and a lot of us fit right here, that never really knew. However, will get the opportunity to find out. But that opportunity comes with them being dragged through some stuff, because you got to be tried to protect it. And that's what's happening to a lot of us today. So they didn't know, so they were ignorant, but they get the opportunity to know, but they're going to go through some stuff because that's how it is. Then there's that third person. That third person is the one who knew and turned his back on what they knew. Now, you can look at a lot of the reverends, preachers, and even some grand chiefs that are in that position. Now, they are going to get the terminology of eternal damnation with their soul and spirit. So there it is right there. I don't know which one you're at, but there's only one of the three.
Yeah, that is correct. Absolutely correct. Sister Carol, thank you so much for your call.
Peace and love.
Thank you.
All right, peace and love. All right, caller 619-807. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwestern Maxim.
Can you repeat that, please?
Caller 619-807.
Yes, that's me. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can.
Oh, great. The topic that you're talking about today, about the mothers, during my studies, I was reading. I ran across Proverbs 6, and it's in 20. It states, "Forsake not the law of thy mother."
Okay. Yep. Absolutely. Are you there?
Yes.
I think Sister E must not be there for the moment.
No, I'm here. I'm here. I'm wait. I don't. Are you? Is that all you wanted to say?
It says, "Forsake not the laws of thy mother." That's what it says, right?
Yes.
That means just that simple, right?
Yes. I mean, it's been in there. Yeah.
That's it. There's no more to that.
You're right. You're right. You're right. Well, thank you. I thank you so much for your call.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Go with that.
Righty.
You know what's funny, though? Because women, they raise the household and everything, and everybody listens to the discipline of the woman and stuff like that. So what she just said is just what that is,
Yes, yes. All right, call up. I think I know who this is. Call up. Is this you, David Maciel?
Yes, it is.
All right.
What's up?
Good day, family.
You're a little scratchy.
That might be me.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead.
In the form of the great angel.
No, that's not you. We can't hear. Something either with
Sound
your
a little
speakers.
muffled.
You are very muffled.
Can you hear me?
Better.
Oh, yes. Better.
In the form of the great angel.
No. Listen, I know you got some great information to impart. Something's happening with your phone, and it's scratchy. So whatever you did the first time works.
Can you?
Now you're clear.
Better? We hear the story of the fall of the great angel. We know that's the mother. But the facts are she has a broken leg, broken arm and a concussion and some crushed ribs. But the circumstances of the fall need to be investigated. It's not like she tripped and fell, because those circumstances would lead you down another road. But if she was pushed, well, the fall is the facts. But once you make it known that you don't want to have that happen again, you have to do an investigation. So when we say the fall, well, how did that happen? It's the question that needs to go along with the story of how she fell.
Well, that's true. And at the same time, she must have been somewhere she wasn't supposed to be, too. I mean, the whole life, the whole responsibility still rests on her no matter what, because she is who she is, you know. That's like, you know, like we'll say today, well, we're like we are because, you know, they put us in, they enslaved us, or because they taught us wrong in school. That's why. Well, guess what? We're not at the point of why. We're at the point of recognizing that it is still her, because as long as we don't take that responsibility for whatever it is, and if she got pushed, she should know that don't be in that space no more. You know what I mean?
How you see the problem is the problem.
Yes.
That's all I wanted to add.
But you know what?
But that's good enough for today. We'll continue another time.
Well, you know what? I just want to say something about what you said, because you said, did she trip or was she pushed? And when you look at the history, she was really both of those things happened, but they didn't happen from an outside source. They actually happened from her, because she was certainly tripping when she created, these modern Europeans so that they can praise her, look up to her as this supreme deity. And, she also fell because she pushed herself, because she kept going in this particular vein, which was not harmonious. It was not about love. And so she tripped and she pushed herself.
Yes, that's my point I'm making as well, yes.
There's more temples to the so-called Black Madonna in Child in Italy than in any country in the world. But the modern Europeans, or her son's creation, worship someone who looks like our ancestors.
That's true. So she was in that space. You're right. To this day,
but
they did.
She went out of town, left the son in charge, and what happened? There's no food on the shelves, the cash register is empty, and the help is knocked up.
It's like Mother Hubbard went to the cupboard, right, and couldn't find nothing. But still, no matter what she did, no matter what, it's her responsibility. This is what this whole thing is about.
Right.
Regardless of who, what, where, why. It doesn't matter what. Like I'm saying, it does matter. Don't get it wrong. But it's still the sister's responsibility to get this thing right. Or we could brood in, well, I did that because you made me, you cheated, you did that. It doesn't matter. It's still the responsibility of the mother, regardless. And if she's not going to get up where she fell, whether she was pushed or not, or really falling it with the ego and all of that, if she's not going to do that, it's not going to go down. So That's how I say it. But it's not. It's good to know as much as we can what happened, but it's better to know who is responsible for fixing it, especially if we're going to be complaining about something that's broke.
But she also needs to be cognizant of the fact that she's in a war, and the war hasn't stopped.
True that.
Some
True that.
of
Well,
the
that's why
mothers
she needs
don't
to wake
know
up.
that. Right.
But that's why she needs to wake up, because as long as she's asleep, she's going to go to the very people that's warring against her and ask them for assistance. And that's exactly what's going on now.
Isn't that what's going on right now? She's running all of their stuff, and all of their stuff is a program to oppress her and her children and her family. That's what's happening.
Right.
Yeah. Yes,
all right, David, thank you so much for that thought. That's something for all sisters to think about. Islam, are you there?
Yes. Yes, I am. Yeah, we're here.
David? All right. Well, let me go on to the next caller. All right, and I think this will be the last caller, caller 901-281. 901-281. You are live on the air. Please state your appellation at Northwest of Mexico.
What exactly is an appellation? I'm new to this.
How are you addressed?
I'm addressed as
how are you addressed?
Your name. What you
I like that. You know what? This is the first time I've listened to you, and I like that mistress. I like that mistress. You can call Mistress Phi, PHI Phi. I've been listening to various shows on Blog Talk, and I've heard one as to the reason why some, you might say, melanin-rich people are in the predicament that we're in now. And this is what I heard, because what the young man stated as far as was she pushed or did she trip? And then what you other mistresses brought to the table kind of, I was like, okay, that's another dynamic I didn't know about. And you said something regarding that the melanated woman created the European, and was that a laboratory creation, or was that I don't know what
laboratory?
It was a laboratory creation.
Yeah, you've heard of Yacobian experiment, right? You've heard of Yacobian experiment.
Yes, and I saw a really good video.
Yeah.
Okay, so in the Yacobian experiment, I thought there were just male and female that were participating in that.
You saw what?
Masculine and feminine persons that were.
Well, not really, but there's a few dynamics to that. When you read the book of John that we have on the site, which is that this at above so below, what happens in heaven, which is really the haven of the mind, then happens on earth. Well, if you read that, you'll get a better concept of what is being said, because she's man, he's son of man, and then really when you talk about when those experiments happened during the reign of the sister when she was awake, the Moabite nation, Moorish nation, same thing, but pretty much Moorish is the sons, and when sultans came in, et cetera, like that, because she fell asleep. So when you look at that it was authorized, some wanted it to happen, some didn't want it to happen, but she was in control at that time of her reign. You understand? So we have to take responsibility for everything that goes on. So you got to look at it from that perspective, and then look at it from present, from even up to today, where they're using those ingredients, if you will, to do what they call a genetic splicing, things like that. And when you look at it, that the oldest bones ever found are of a woman, and that when people go to see like what kind of blood type they have, or you know, it always goes back to her, even though they call her Lucy. So that you need to watch the movie Lucy also.
Oh, I saw that. Yeah, that's
right.
my movie. Yeah.
Right, and the fact that one mother's breast has given a suck, so everything that has gone on is her responsibility, regardless of whether she allowed or didn't allow her son to be the actual one in that laboratory. It doesn't matter who was actually in the laboratory, because Yaqub actually, got that name, if you will, or changed to Israel, according to the biblical text, based on that in a mundane way. But it's actually a higher thing going on with that. If you listen to our last Tuesday's class, you'll get some more information. So that's why we're saying that. So it doesn't matter who did it at the time, because male and female is the DNA, the masculine and feminine, the positive and the negative, had to be in. And that's why they call her Zodiacus as well, or Mother Zodiacus, because all of the attributes and energies of man manifested in the flesh is imbued in the 12 tribes, which is the 12 zodiac signs. You understand? They all relate.
Right.
All right. So getting specific with who actually did what, whether it was a male or whether it was a female. Man is identified, period, by the female in terms of species, which means you're a man and he's son of man. So getting that all straight, bickering about, who actually did it, it's been done several times. Adam is
right. Is this the seventh time or something?
Yeah, that's what exactly. Now, while she sleeps, all this is going on, right?
Right.
All right. Because man is birthed through her. Now, if you watch I, Frankenstein, they make that distinction. They say, oh, my gosh, now they know that they can create out of nature. You see?
Yeah, I heard you all talking about I, Frankenstein earlier. That does seem like a movie I'd like to take a look at. I've seen that Lucy also. I've watched Lucy several times. That's a pretty deep movie on a lot of different levels.
Mm-hmm.
Because when I saw her morphing, after she had to take something external to bring her to that elevation, that level of elevation where she was able to be just totally, God. And it seemed like every time I watched that movie, as she went through that metamorphosis, it's like I could really feel my DNA just changing, and I could feel it as I was watching that. It's like, okay, I got that capability innate, evidently, and because I will say things, I will ask for something, and somebody to call me, or I want something in particular, and 10, and forget about it. 10, 15 minutes later, click, it's happening. So the words that we speak, and someone said something about looking up the words, the etymology of a word, and that's something that I took from Sister Yafa about 3 years ago. She's real good at that. That's something when I used to listen to her blog talk shows that I picked up from her. So, yeah, this is the first time I've ever listened to your show, and I got to admit, it's been enlightening, and I do plan. And the name of that book is What Happens in Heaven Happens on Earth.
No, not the book. You need to get information regarding the Yaqubian experiment. Yaqub is another word for Jacob as well.
Yeah, right.
Right. You've heard of that. Right.
Yes,
you need to do that, but you also need to watch, in terms of movies, you need to watch The Island of Dr. Moreau. And you also need to read the book on Clock of Destiny 1 and 2 by C.M. Bay. Now, you can get these books that I'm telling you about on RB Bay Publications, by the way. But those are the things you need to look at, because it's really about an experiment. Now, what you just said in terms of morphing, it's really about ascent and descent. And I, Frankenstein, shows that. dealing with. Right, that's what you would look at. Because remember, when the beings who are of so-called lower self, evil or lesser self, when they die, they go down beneath in fire. But when those who are of more pure spirit and mind, body, and spirit, when they die, it's a blue light, and they ascend. See, they're showing you. It's really, this whole thing is about angels and demons. This whole thing is about higher self and lower self, period. And that's why the prophet Noble Joe Ali says in his works, he says, look, there are two selves. And he says, I'm here to teach you to be yourself, selves, really. And to know what your lower self is and that you have one. Then you go back to astrology. That helps you with your chart to identify what's lower about yourself. But we got two selves, as a higher self and a lower self. The whole thing of creating anything in a laboratory is really a lower self activity, blanket across the board. It really is. Therefore, what we call the devil, your crew drafted the devil, so-called, in a laboratory, is really a code for we acted on our lower self. And that the devil is a reflection, a shadow of lower self.
God can, no man can raise higher than its creator.
Now that goes back to the mother, which is the woman, and no man can ever rise higher than its women. So again, the show is wake up, women, take your place.
Well, I have got to say I really have enjoyed this talk today with you all, and I'll make sure that I tune in on next Sunday. You guys do this every Sunday?
No, Sister Standing on Law broadcasts every third Sunday at 1:00. So our next broadcast is actually September. I believe September 20th. September 20th.
I think I've.
However, sister, every Tuesday we have 4 programs on this same channel, if you will. Every Tuesday at 9:30 we have what's called National Principles, and every Wednesday we broadcast our class out of at New York, Moor's Heritage and History class at 7:30, and then every Thursday the Sons of Allah broadcast, all on the same channel. So if you go to RV Publications and you just click blog, it's right on the front page. It'll give you all of the programs and what time they are. All right?
Thank you. Look, I do have one last question, because from what I've researched, Moor, Moor, is, well, it depends on if you want to look at it in an etymological sense. Moor means black or color, and or dark hue. And is that a nationality, or is that a
Okay. All right. Well, first of all, whether it's MUUR or MOOR, remember the grammar laws of grammar, of which we established the English language for these Europeans. So, okay. A, E, I, O, and U are the vowel sounds, meaning the VOW vowels of the L's. A, E, I, O, and U are interchangeable, so always remember that in your studies. Therefore, when you look at America, Moor, it's American and Moor is the same thing. Actually, that's the landmaster we're talking about. Now, when you look at MER, MOR, MAR, which is mare, it means water. And if you look up the word Moor, you'll see that it's transitive. It's an action of being on the sea, being on the waters. And that's why they have moorlands, which are wetlands or marshlands, because it's about the boating. But really, since we're talking about the women, the original place that you were mooring on was on the seven stages of development in the waters of your mother's womb. Then you're cut from her navel and become a navigating L navel, and become a navigating L upon the earth plane.
Navel.
Right. See what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So, right. And so the umbilical cord is where you get Uma, which means mother. They're talking about the umbilical cord of which you are cut from. All right? So that's your first navigation upon the waters, because remember, man is mind, and we're being manifested in the flesh. So every child that's manifested in the flesh is all law manifested in the flesh. So every child you had, you, mother, just laid the law down. Now you have a bunch of people that want to do the studies of, like you're saying, MULO, blah, 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 like that. So now that's really what it means. And if you stay from whence it came, like you said, the etymon and the root of all things, both divine and spiritual, divine and national, then you can have a clarity instead of a division, which a lot of people want to make divisions. Well, I'm an MUU or more, and you're an MOO or more. Or I'm a Muslim and you're a Muslim. Well, Muslim means a fetus, so everybody on the planet is a Muslim. You understand what I'm saying? Muscle or Musulman are really that who we created in the muscles and limbs, because it means muscles and limbs. Muscles, bones, tissues, and limbs. That's what it means.
And so, all of what you say is interesting, and I'm dealing with it. And these classes on Tuesdays?
Yes.
Over the internet?
Tuesday, 9:30. All right.
Okay. Thanks a lot. I really appreciate you all speaking with me.
And listen, sis, you can go back and listen to the archives from the beginning of Business Standing on Law, which is a year or more ago, and get some fundamentals on law, national principles, and on the Constitution, because we broke down the Constitution starting with Article 1 all the way down to Bill of Rights, 10, 11, 12, 13 as well. All right?
Excellent. Thank you.
You're welcome. Peace and love.
All right. Peace and love. And that concludes our Sisters Standing on Law broadcast episode. Next month, the 20th of September, we will begin the analysis of the Treaty of Peace and Friendship. You need to pull out your Treaty of Peace and Friendship, dust it off, make a copy, and start going through the words and go into your dictionary, your unabridged prior to 1965 dictionary, your etymology dictionary, your Latin dictionary, as well as your Black's Law 4th edition dictionary, because we're going to tear it apart like we did the Constitution, so that we can all be clear on what that document means and what it means to us as Moors declared. So make sure and check us out Tuesday, 9:30, for Principles of Nationality in Action. And, of course, Wednesday for Moors Heritage and History School near Harlem Corporation at Northwest Amexham. This is your host, Anita Ill, as well as Rosmariah Begg. I think we're going to close out with Sister Misery.
Yes. Oh, Energy, before you close out. Yeah, before you close out, I know Sister Energy has heard this from Sister Misery. I trust she has. Possibly she has not, or whatever. But this is another one to look at in terms of the lyrics and the music combination. That's great. Peace and love.
All right. Peace and love to all.
Peace.
Our problem is lack of knowledge and the intended deceit and trickery done, because even those who read the biblioteca check that you call the Bible says he shall fool even the most believe. So even those who think they're highly educated and this and that, they've been fooled. That's it. It's not really complicated.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it, to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. The gods are back, the Moors are strapped. We waking up, and we want our land back. Running off, that's a trap. You know them gods don't like that. Waking up from a nap, like where the hell my crown at? Take a step back, like I know this bitch ain't bite back. It's kinda crazy how this karma it strikes back. never let us in. Oh, I get it, you never wanted to put some credits in. Well, just forget it, cause I don't know if you can edit sin. We've been enlightened long before Thomas Edison. Skeletons to prove that you wasn't even relevant. In the Caucasus Mountains, cause the sun was your deficit. Captain Caveman with the plan of the Jesuits. Check my bloodline, but in time I bring the evidence. Self-governing body, so I don't need no president. Democrat, Republican, donkey versus elephant. I studied in law, so I ain't down with none of that. I self-law and master, so I'm running that. This Molotov cocktail burns faster, so I like the match. Despite the fact that ain't even what I'm mad at. I spit the truth, so here's the roof, so you can that. My skin is brown and here's the proof, but you ain't hearing that. Dead in the eyes of the law, that's why they call you black. Naming all caps when you fall, that's why I strike back. And strike that from the record ab initio. You gon' need more than some pressure, I got a vicious flow. I can take the road to the high, or I can hit them low. Try to calcify my third eye, oh you gon' have to go. Chemtrails all over the sky, and you don't wanna know. Doggone inside of my tribe, they coming no more.
If you believe that your history started on a slave boat, I can guarantee you that's where it ended too. That's what I'm saying. Then after saying that, and so don't believe me, go back and do some studies past the 1700s, and I'll guarantee you, sure as you're sitting there listening or wherever you are, watching, listening, you will find nothing but the word Moor, and that's another thing. Because we weren't called black. That description, maybe, black or more or whatever, but that's it. Know the difference between a description and an actual, person, place, or thing noun. I mean, really.
It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows it, to those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. It's the miseducation of the Negro. Everybody knows except those who need to know. It's the miseducation of the Negro. When we rise from the dead, they call us Pharaoh. From the pyramids to the project, the beginning is the part they want you to forget. Implant your memory with that noose around your neck. It's the King Alpha plan and it's set in full effect. The butler, the help, and 12 years a slave. Django and Selma, they get them accolades. They made a movie called Exodus about the gods and kings with an all-white cast from Egypt. Now that's the same. They ain't never seen no movie about no European slaves. We were traveling the seas when they was living in caves. We had to civilize them, show them how to behave. In fact, we brought them light and taught them how to bathe. This is trading places with stolen identity. We agreed to be educated by our own enemy. Reverse psychology, I'ma need a lobotomy. An exorcism just to get this shit about me. Roz Mariah, Anna E, Miss Raheem, Tariq, Cujo from Cannonland. Listen to them speak. I done learned from the best. I don't need no DNA test. The nations in my womb has given from the breast. The empire's back, so you know what's next. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess. Yes, yes. The Moors are waking up, now you must confess.
Birthright theft. The whole deal was, where's my land that, for them, the whole deal was like, this is really quote-unquote promised land. This is really the quote-unquote heart of civilization. This is really what you might call Northwest Africa. That's what, and I say that to people so they can stop saying I'm going back to Africa and understand that they're in it. It's the Garden of Eden.
That's what they had in Columbus's journal that they arrived
Absolutely.
in Eden.
So what has happened is absolute lies. That's right. And the land of milk and honey is another terminology. So these things are important because as you're doing studies, and if it says the land of milk and honey, you need to know they're talking about the North American continent. If you don't know that, then you miss it. And that's part of our problem. That part of our problem is the miseducation. We have been lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to, lied to.